for me, if someone was to say to me, why would you get into coaching? You're out in the open air, you're helping kids do something that they love.
Yeah.
And I love football. Football's my life.
Hello and welcome to Grassroots Grind. I'm your host, Ray Rampy. Today I'm joined by Steve, a Grassroots coach and club chairman who built a thriving club from just 5 kids to 8 teams. We'll dive into challenges of running a club, coaching his own child, and what grassroots football really needs to grow. If you like the podcast, hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps. Now let's get started. Hi Steve, welcome to the show. How are we doing today?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Just finished a game this morning with our under-9s against Langley Colts. Bit of a rivalry because we're kind of like on each other's doorstep.
Oh really, a bit of a derby.
Yeah, always a challenging and hard-fought game, but yeah, the boys done well. Tough conditions.
Yeah.
Looked out the window this morning, didn't know whether the games were going to go on, but sun's come out and it's afforded to pitch up.
That's
so
good.
All good.
Yeah, I think we had that same issue this morning with ours as well. We had to delay our kick-off for like half an hour or so. But yeah, that's good stuff. So Steve, tell us a little bit about your journey and how where you started to actually be where you are today.
Yeah, so I've always been involved in kind of football, and then I kind of obviously had my eldest boy. He come along, and then there's not much to do in North Weald in terms of sports activities. So what I'd done was I see a couple of kids kicking the can down the road.
Right.
And I started, and at the time, my boy just started his football journey in a team in Emerson Park, called Emerson Park, funny enough. But the journey time backwards and forwards, training twice a week, games. It was a bit of a long distance to travel, and all I wanted to do really, and it's always been a dream of mine, to start a kids football club, and to square it with a boss at home, and as they say, the rest is history. So I'm the chairman of the club as well, so I literally started it from scratch.
Right.
I had 5 schoolboys. They all go to St Andrew's School in the village. And then kind of, as the word got around, parents start asking questions. I hear you're starting a local football team. They had one years ago.
Right.
And it just stopped. So, from that point on, it was kind of, right, if I'm going to do it, I've got to commit.
Yeah.
It's 100%. I've got a wife, 4 kids. So it was a big commitment. And the club's just done really well in terms of growing. We had to kind of source facilities. There's not much in now.
No.
We're up at a community centre, which we're trying to get more better, improve the facilities, but improve the playing pitches of where we play, because we've got no drainage. It costs money. That's the hardest thing I think running a club, is trying to manage the money side of it as well. But it's been a tough journey. I'd say we started off with our under-6s, and as the seasons have gone on, people have obviously heard how good we are doing in the club, and you start getting players at the end of the season saying, "Oh, can we come over?" And I've now got 8 teams.
Wow, that's really good. And what sort of age groups are we looking at for those 8 teams? So
the youngest, I've just in the last couple of weeks, I've launched an under-6s team. Okay, I've got an under-8s, I've got an under-9s boys. Last year I started an under-9s girls. I've got 2 under-12 teams and an under-14s team. Wow,
that's quite impressive, especially for the girls teams, all girls team.
Yeah,
there's not much of them around.
No, and it's hard because you got certain wildcat centres around, and I've been kind of look at to try and turn it into kind of a wildcat centre. But it's just more admin, trying to get all of the stuff done. But yeah, the girls, they're good. They started their football journey right when the Lionesses just won the European Cup.
I see.
So that's obviously given them the spur to want to go and play. And I got a cracking group of girls. I was with them yesterday. We went all the way over to Allsit with 5 players and come away with a 3-3 draw. Cost me £25 in McDonald's, but they done well.
That's good. And yourself, do you have any personal ties to a team? Do you have your own child playing in your team, and do you reckon that kind of changes your own sort of coaching style if you have a?
Yeah, I mean, my boy's standing there. Yeah, I've got a boy. He's been playing football since he was 2.
Right,
he's always had a ball at his feet.
Yeah.
And it's different because I wanted this year. I wanted to kind of take that step back from coaching,
right,
and just be a dad.
Yeah.
You know, and there's probably other coaches out there that probably feel the same way. You know, and it was all teed up this year that I was just going to be a dad on the sidelines. But unfortunately, one of the other coaches who was going to come in didn't come in. I've got another coach in whose boy also plays. So Bill's kind of new to kids coaching. It's different. I mean, he's played at a very high level, but coaching kids is a lot different. And then the hard part is having your son play, because it's personal then.
Right.
You know, you got that. It's, you know, your boy is there. You want your team to win, but you want his development to
feel the pressure, don't you?
Yeah, it is, and he does really well with me on the sidelines. You know, I think sometimes when what people don't realise is with coaches who've got boys in their team, they're the ones that have to get up early in the morning. You know, they're setting up with you. They're probably cold by the time everyone else turns up, but he doesn't moan. He just gets on with it. He just wants to play football. And, you know, that's the part that people don't see. Right, about being a coach's son or daughter. You know, it's difficult.
No, I do get that. And in terms of when you get your team together, how many nights or how many days do you train?
So again, it comes back to facilities. I'd like to have them training twice a week.
Right.
As they get older, you want them to, you know, you don't want to do too much football, but you know, training twice a week, and then matches on the weekend.
Right.
But again, facilities is hard. It's hard where we are to try and kind of get that in play. You know.
So at the moment, it's just the one then.
Just once a week. Yeah.
All right. So how do you? Because that's like because as a coach, I'd know this as well. That's minimal time with your kids to get them ready for a match. So how do you structure your training sessions?
So, believe it or not, you know, after a Sunday, me and Bill were talking about my other coach. We talk about, okay, what didn't go well in the game,
right,
and how can we take that forward, and move forward to try and implement into an hour. You've only got an hour, and that's. You know, by the time they've got over there, especially in the winter, you need them to run around for 5-10 minutes, get the blood flowing, get warm. So you've only got 50 minutes. You know what it's like at the end of training. Kids all they want to do is play a match, right? And you know that was the case when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All you want to do is to play a match against your mates. You know, so it is hard, but the planning that goes on behind the scenes, again, you know, people don't see that. You know, it's we don't just turn up, set the goals up, you know, try and cheer the kids on. It's all about, you know, who in looking at the game, and that's why we've got the VO this year. So we've got a VO.
Ah, right.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is one day in a week is show them the game and walk them through the game, what they could have done better here, what was great, what they done there.
Yeah.
But again, it's just timing, you know, and it's, you know, do you want to spend the time coaching them, or do you want to have a look at, you know, the analysis? Because that's what they do in academies, right? You know, they'll look at the games and then they'll go and analyse them. And look, everyone, there probably isn't a coach out there that doesn't want to win, right? But most importantly, it's all about the players' development. And you know, I sit down with Ralph and talk about, we sit back and we put it on my phone or on the telly, and you know, we look at, oh, wow, you've done really well there. Look what you've done here. Like, actually, you may have taken a touch too long now. Do you think you could got your head up, and release the ball? So, you know, there is the analysis part, but, you know, going back to your original question, you know, I probably talk to my other coach more than I talk to my own wife, to be honest with you.
Right, and do you sort of use any sort of resources? Because I know there's I've come across, was a coaching manual. Is it the coaching manual? Yeah, coaching manual. I think there's a site there, and I know a lot of other coaches use like YouTube. They pick up some skills from there. They pick up some sort of drills from there. Do you have any sort of resources that you rely on?
Yeah, so there's a thing online called Football DNA.
Football DNA, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I've looked at. I mean, you have to subscribe to it. They have some really good coaching drills on there. funny enough, I look at some of what the drills that I'd done when I was a kid, how
Yeah.
I got taught to play football, and some of them still resonate with me now. I didn't have a bad football career. I didn't make it as a professional, but what you can do is what you've been taught is not wrong, and you try and adapt it. And I just think that coaching is difficult at times.
Yeah.
You have good days, you have bad days, but it's all about planning. It's all about the kids' development, and getting them ready. Grassroots football is unbelievable. Some of the certainly some of the games I've witnessed my teams play. Looking at some of the other teams, I mean, some of the standard of football that gets played at grassroots level is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to see more is these big clubs. They've got these academies.
Yeah.
Like, how can we get young kids going into Tottenham, going into Arsenal from a grassroots level, showcasing what they can do.
Yeah.
We're quite lucky. We go into Tottenham quite a bit.
Right.
And the boys love it there, but it's just an experience from I never got to do that when I was younger.
No,
so
times
but
have
it's
changed.
all about planning. Talking to other coaches, what went well, what didn't go well, what could we work on, and that's how we plan our sessions.
Sure, I see. And if you've come across like players who are kind of struggling, whether it's behaviour or kind of skill development, how do you kind of handle those sort of challenges?
So I think, I kind of say, at any age group, probably up until under 10s, under 11s, they're still babies. They're still babies. They're still finding their own little journeys. And I think it's tough. You're going to have kids with different, behavioural problems. There's lots out there, but it's how you kind of, you find what makes them tick.
Right.
You find what makes them happy. And you got to adapt. Not every kid's going to be the same. Not every kid's going to be at the same ability. We're quite lucky. We've got kind of a mix of good players that need developing, and we use quite lucky. I've got 2 or 3 one-to-one coaches that if I feel that they could probably benefit from the extra training one-to-one. I can't fortunately do it because I've got a job and wife and kids, but I kind of help people if I've got one guy, he's probably got 5 or 6 boys throughout my club. Ralph's just started at another one-to-one coach, P2P football with Leo. I've really seen the benefit of him doing that one-to-one coaching, because it's not me coaching him. He's got someone outside coaching him.
So you don't have that emotional tie as well.
No.
Of course, some parents will have that when they're coaching their kids, and that's where your little mini arguments come in, all the tantrums.
They do.
I see that. And in terms of like when you look to give feedback to those children, how do you focus on more of the praising, or are you kind of looking at areas that they can improve? How are you trying to work around those sort of feedback for those kids that may be struggling in any way or form?
I think for me, the worst thing that you can do as a coach is be barking orders from the sideline. Why did you not pass the ball? Why did you not get your head up? Instead, what I do is I try and challenge them by asking them questions, right? So, I'll say, do you think you could have got your head up quicker and released the ball a little bit sooner? Do you think rather than shooting, because it gets them thinking, it gets their mind stimulating. So, I'm not going to get nothing out of my son if I'm saying, why are you not passing the, he's just going to block that out. He's not going to want it. They don't want to hear that.
Heads will drop as well.
Heads will drop, and it's all about kind of challenge, and it's not about me, right? I'm here for the club, for the team. It's about him and the players that are on the pitch. Challenge them, ask questions. And I think you get more out of them by doing that than just by shouting the orders. No,
I do get that. And in terms of your team, like, do you rotate the kids in different positions, or do you tend to kind of put them in what you feel could be like the strongest areas or positions that they'll play in?
It's a tough one, right? Because you've got some coaches that just want to win, right, at all costs.
I've seen
You've
that.
got some coaches that would want to rotate for equal game time, but then You'll get parents moaning saying, oh, my kid didn't play as long as this kid, and it's a very, very fine balancing act. I tend to look at a player and then I think he would probably, or she would probably, get more joy playing in a position that they like playing in. I wouldn't want to rotate a boy or girl who plays striker and say, go and play left centre back for me, because they probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I also try and think to myself, you've got to let these kids learn, and try and teach them that there are different, because my boy plays on the right wing. If he goes further in his career, someone might say, well, you're a centre midfielder. So we do try and move them around a little bit. Today we had our left winger, our striker. He played at centre back, right, because we were short in defence, right? So he said, look, I'll play. And he wanted to play there. So it's very, very fine balancing act to who wants to play where.
It is
because everyone wants to play this cam role,
right?
Like everyone wants to play it. And as they get older, you go from 9. We're playing 7-a-side at the moment. We go to 9-a-side in a couple of years. So it's about finding more players. We're trying to integrate them into the team. But yeah, it is tough. Some weeks it works, some weeks it don't. When it don't, you've got to pick the kids up. So yeah, it is a fine balancing act.
And how do you kind of deal with parental involvement? Meaning, you get a lot of parents. I've seen this myself, and I've experienced this myself. A lot of parents on the sidelines coaching while the game's on. What's your take on that?
So one of the things that I do when I, throughout all the teams that I've coached, I tell the players, don't listen to your parents. The only 2 people that you should be listening to are the coaches on the sideline.
Right.
And I tell my parents that, if your boy or girl is not listening to a word you're saying, that's because I've told them to.
Yeah.
So I kind of try and make that as like a club rule, kind of, set the boundaries nice and early.
Yeah.
I'm all for parents coaching kids. I'm all good, for parents coaching kids, from the sidelines, sort of encouraging, giving them encouragement. Go on, Ralph. Go on, Joe. Go on, John. Go on, get down the line. Go on, cross it. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't want to see that get taken out of the game.
Yeah.
But again, I've been to places where I've looked at the behaviour of some parents and thought, wow.
Yeah.
I'm quite lucky. All of the parents, there's an FA thing they have to sign. They have to sign like a code of conduct. So I've taken it off their website and issued that to all my parents. Kind of what I kind of expect, but also what the Essex FA and the FA expect how people to behave on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't.
No.
I'm quite lucky. The parents of my club are pretty good. I haven't had no major problems.
No.
Where I've had to ask parents to leave or anything like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear. And what does grassroots football mean to you?
Just getting up on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Getting up on the Sunday, today, the sun's shining, getting the kids out, playing football with their friends, enjoying what they do. Watching them grow and develop. I'll give you a perfect example. I was running my girls' team last year, and because of other commitments, I wasn't able to run it this year. And there was one girl, and she was kind of struggling to find her place in the team. And I spoke to her and I said, look, come on, you're still new, you're still young, you're still going to develop. And I haven't seen them for a little while. And I took them yesterday, and she's probably one of the best defenders as a girl that I've seen, and she's found her place. She even said to me, Steve, I don't want to play in any other position apart from defence. And you think, I'm going to honour that. So I was so proud to see that this quiet girl come over, she didn't talk to no one, and now she's thriving. And that's what it means to me. Seeing them playing with a smile on their face, and that's what it's about for me. And the fact that, being the chairman of a kids' football, I'm happy to take all kind of walks of life into my football club. It doesn't matter. Skin colour, any disability, we welcome everyone.
Yes.
And seeing people thrive, when people are happy, you'll get the best out of them.
Yeah. No, I get that. And in terms of your coaches, are they parents or are they like ex-pros? Are they just coming off like from other teams, other clubs, maybe coming in as an interest but with no personal ties of kids? What's your
so my club have got obviously me, the chairman. I've got they are predominantly parents,
right?
You know, who I've got one guy who runs my under 12s. Never been involved in football. His son wanted to play football. We started that team. He's like, Steve, get me on all my badges. You know, we're putting him through all of his badges now. He loves it. You know, he was up the field at 8:30 this morning, sweeping the pitch. You know, so it's predominantly parents. Again, where I am, the village, it's quite a small, close-knit village. There isn't kind of a lot of volunteers, so I kind of have to do a lot of it myself. Do advertise for coaches, but it's hard because I don't pay my coaches. Yeah, so they do it for the love, right, rather than getting paid.
It's most of us, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, well, that's, you know, some people they've got to understand we're all volunteers here, right? We're not professionals.
Yeah.
You know, if we was professionals, we'd be managing in, you know, higher leagues. You know, so it's all about, you know, us trying to get the best out of the kids. Some coaches get it wrong. Some coaches get it right. You know, but it's hard. It's hard to attract coaches. Try and take them away from family time because they are. You know, they're you know, my coach Lee, he's constantly talking about football. He must drive his missus mad, but you know, everything he does it. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Yeah. You know, and they're the kind of people that you need around your club. Yeah.
And where do your club get your kits from?
So we use a company called Discount Football Kits. I think they're based in Stoke. Right. I've always been a Nike man myself. Right. I try and keep the whole club through with Nike. I get some really good prices off of there. Yeah. I've never had any problems. They take returns very well. Good. It's very quick delivery. But what I used to use a guy for all my printing. And then I thought, why am I paying money to get my shirts printed? Why don't you just learn to do it yourself? So I've got myself a printing machine at home. Okay. I've got a guy in Basildon who prints all of my logos for me. Wow. And I've got the printing machine at home. Wow. So, because what other people don't see is the money side aspect of it. You know, we're only a small club, right? We've got very limited facilities. So, you know, you're reliant on signing on fees, subs coming in, you know, to buy the kits, getting the sponsors. So Bricknell Building is one of our
equipment as well, right?
Yeah, equipment. You know, Bricknell Building is one of our is our main sponsor. So they help us out. I mean, they got the VO camera for us. You know, they're not cheap. Yeah, you know, he does all our kits, all our jackets. He gets all the managers kitted out, and you know, it helps, right? Yeah. Because otherwise, you know, you have to start increasing prices, right? Yeah. Money's tight. You know, people are struggling out there. You know, and so you know, it's that's where we get a lot of our kits from. All of our footballs come from Pro Kit over in Harold Hill. I think they're based now. Yeah. So you know, we get from all over the place, really. So yeah.
Cool. And do you have a website?
We're in the process of getting a website built.
Right.
One of the parents is building a website for us, and she's hopefully we should have that up and running in the next couple of months.
So if there's parents out there that are interested in bringing their kid along to your club, how would they be able to contact you?
So we're on Instagram. Right. So I've got Northfield Raiders all over Instagram. We've got Facebook accounts. Okay. We've got a couple of people that run the Instagram, so they can always get in contact through there. Right. All my details are up on the FA website.
And I'll post it on this video as well for you. Yeah, brilliant.
So that's
great stuff. Right, and if there is someone listening to this and thinking about becoming a grassroots coach, what advice would you give them to start on their journey?
I'd say make sure you get sign off from your wife or girlfriend to start with. But yeah, it's just for me, you know, if someone was to say to me, why would you get into coaching? You know, you're out in the open air, you're helping kids do something that they love.
Yeah.
You know, and I love football. Football's my life. My wife doesn't kind of get that, but you know, it is. Football's my life. It's what I've grown up with, and I will always grow up with it. You know, and I'll always be involved in some kind of part of football.
Yeah.
Grassroots has given me an opportunity to start what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be a lot more support from the pyramid, right? From you know, from the top down. I think grassroots is suffering because of, you know, it's hard to, you know, the funding side of it, you know, it is, but you know, becoming a coach can be rewarding. You know, you can, you know, some of the things you can do now, you know, you go to Leyton Orient and do a tournament there. You can go to Norwich City. I see one advertised go to Arsenal. You know, as long as all the parents are talking, you know, you're taking your team, going walking out at the Emirates or walking out at Spurs or, you know, wherever where you get the opportunity to do it.
So you mentioned this pyramid. What, you know, if you had this magic wand, what would you like to see happen?
I think the first thing I would like to see is better facilities. Right. I think, you know, some of the places you go to, the pitches are not good. Everyone's looking for all-weather pitches. You know, why can't the FA work with the Premier League to help grassroots find places, areas that you can get better facilities for grassroots football? That's probably, you know, facilities is probably the biggest thing that grassroots football's crying out for right now.
Great. Okay, well, thank you. And just to wrap up the last question I have, what team do you support? What's your club?
We're playing today, Arsenal, Man City. I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Arsenal.
Yeah, my family are West Ham, but I remember walking down Romford Market, seeing an Arsenal shirt, pulling that, and I said I want that, and that's kind of, you know, where it started. So hopefully 3 points today. They need a striker.
Brilliant.
But we'll see what happens in the last 24 hours of the transfer window.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you.
No worries.
Been a great guest today. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot.
Thanks.
Take care.